Marinero, Sandro Grande, the Sick Podcast, and Euro 2020 is over. And your winners. Fratelli d'Italia, Italia, se sta nell'elmo principio, se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiava di Roma, in Dio Italia stessa dell'elmo principio, cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiava di Roma, in Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì, ce l'abbiamo fatta, Sandro, we did it, what a game, what a game, mamma mia, Waglio, mamma mia, che roba.
Unbelievable, what a day, man, what a day.
What a day to be Italian. All right. In case you missed it, you missed something absolutely spectacular, especially for us fans of the Italian national team. 1-1 was the score after 120 minutes of play. They go to penalties, in which Italy prevails 3-2 on penalties. Sandro, let's talk about, if we can, the starting lineup with Donnarumma in goal. Of course, on central defense, Chiellini and Bonucci. We'll get to them in just a second because they were instrumental today. Emerson at left back, Di Lorenzo at right back, a midfield of Jorginho in between Verratti to his left, Barella to his right, Ciro Immobile playing up top, Lorenzo Insigne at left wing, and Federico Chiesa at right wing. Sandro, Mancini didn't want to sway away from his traditional 4-3-3, but right up until this morning, he was actually thinking of a false nine, according to all reports.
Yeah. Look, the reality is that when they played with Immobile up top, the three at the back from England were going to be tough to beat. They're very physical, very big. Walker's really quick. So it was going to be difficult to play with a typical number 9. And he might have got his inspiration from Luis Enrique in Spain. And see how they tried to drag out Bonucci and Chiellini in the semifinals. And you know what? When he made that change and he put Insigne as a false 9, things really started to move, and we were really creating a lot of danger, havoc. They were having a hard time finding solutions to counter our tactics.
For England, Pickford in goal, a back three of Stones with Walker on his right, Maguire on his left, a right wing back, which is Trippier, a left wing back, which is Luke Shaw. In front of the back line, you have Rice and Phillips. In front of them, you have Sterling on the right and Mount on the left, and Harry Kane up top. Sandro, we knew that they were going to play. England was going to engage their fullbacks, and that could have put Italy in trouble. We knew that they were going to probably play a few long balls to Harry Kane, and that possibly could put Italy in trouble. There was a concern, of course, which was going to be Raheem Sterling's speed. And some of those concerns that we just talked about manifested themselves just 2 minutes into the game. Trippier down the right flank. He crosses it and goes over a couple of defenders and goes over Di Lorenzo and goes right to Luke Shaw, who hits it, catches it on the bounce, boom, and he beats Donnarumma. Short side. Italy stunned England. England stunned Italy 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it was a quick start. I actually texted my brother before the game, and I said Italy's going to have to manage the first 8 to 10 minutes because I think these guys are going to come out firing. own stadium, legendary, like historical Wembley Stadium, a temple of football, with a packed house. There hasn't been a packed house in a stadium in England for 13, 14 months. I knew it was going to be fire coming out of the gates, and unfortunately, I was wrong. I was right, because they scored after 2 minutes, and all my fears before the game just came true at that moment. And I said to myself, you know what? We really got to hold on tight now, because it's probably going to be 15 minutes of rocking and rolling here on the field. And if this can get out of hand really quickly.
Having said that, if you give up a goal, sometimes it's actually better that you give it up early on, because you have 88 minutes to tie up the game. And I remember what happened with Italy versus France at the 2006 World Cup. I don't think the game was, if memory serves me right, I don't even think the game was 10 minutes old when France got that penalty kick and Zinedine Zidane converted. Italy went down. They were able to come back anyway. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but it's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinero, and live with former professional player Sandro Grande. And the show is brought to you by Essentia, the world's only natural memory foam mattress. Go to myessentia.com/sickpod and use code sickpod for a free pillow with your purchase. Essentia, beyond organic sleep. And Sandro, Italy woke up after the first 2 minutes. They were asleep for the first two, but then as the game went on, they got progressively better, and they started to dictate the tempo of the game. And the only problems they had was in the final third, because of course England had 5 players back, maybe even more than that, and a couple of, they looked like they had 7 or 8 players back. They were trying to play very, very defensive, which they're not used to playing. But as the game went on, Italy was looking more and more comfortable.
Yeah, I think England came out in a totally different formation than I don't think they played one game in the tournament with that 3-4-3 formation. It caused Italy some difficulties. It's normal. You're going to have to get used to it. You're going to have to figure out where players are on the pitch, where the spaces, what spaces we have to try closing off. And they took a bit of time. I think it took them about 12, 13, around the 15th minute mark, where they started to realize, okay, this is, now we can start getting into the groove. And they really started coming out and keeping the ball and playing at their tempo. And I think England, first half was possession 68-32 with only one shot on goal for England. And we had 3 or 4 decent, I wouldn't say top-notch chances, but, decent chances. And we started gaining confidence. And I said to myself, you know what, let's just take this to the half and not concede. And then I think in second half, we're going to be able to go and equalize.
With Sandro Grande, I'm Tony Marinero. It's a Sick Podcast. Excellent photo. A shout out to them. Century located close to downtown shopping and universities in Montreal. Ships to all of Canada. Professional staff at the store and online to help you choose the gear you really need. That picture of Jorginho lying on the ground and at one point takes off his cleat and they go to him. They start spraying him down. He took a pretty big knock. So did Federico Chiesa in this game. We'll get to him a little bit later. But Sandro, they're down 1-0. I see Jorginho get hurt. And at that point, that's probably the only time I'm nervous in that game, because he had himself a hell of a tournament. They lose him, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I think I've said it in the past. I know I might be biased by saying this, but the reality is that I played in that type of position, and it's one of the most underrated positions on the pitch. But as we saw this tournament, and I'm glad 2021 came and people got to see the Euro, because people got to see guys like Sergio Busquets, who does not score goals.
He's fantastic, by the way.
Who probably does not have many assists, but Sergio Busquets and Toni Kroos and Jorginho and Verratti and these players that play in those types of positions can control a game on their own. And we are lucky to have Jorginho. We were lucky in the past to have Andrea Pirlo. And I think Jorginho had a fantastic tournament, was one of the best players in the tournament all around. And it was a worrying moment when he was on the ground. And luckily he was able to fight through it and just keep on going.
You talked about Marco Verratti. How tall is he? 5-5?
5-5, 5-6.
All right. It's all about will. The Bonucci goal, there's a ball that goes in the air, and it's Verratti that heads it, and then boom, the ball falls there to Bonucci, who has great instincts, by the way. Every time that ball is around there, Bonucci finds himself right place at the right time. Not a lot of central defenders have that knack to do that, and he's able to put it into the empty cage. Harry Kane is there trying to stop it. It goes in. Verratti, 5'5", the will, the guts, the determination. You saw it on that play. And we're not even talking about his strokes of genius throughout the game. I thought he was colossal today for Italy.
I would like to see the stats. I don't have the stats, but I would like to know how many passes he missed today, how many successful passes he had, how many balls he recuperated. And you said something, Tony. He's 5'5", 5'6", and I have this discussion with many people, and I hear this comment often. No, if the best athletes in the US would play soccer is a different animal. It is a different beast. Soccer, football, our football is about brains, technique, positioning, and awareness on the field. That's the first and foremost. That you can run fast or you can be as strong as you want with muscles all over your body. That's not going to dictate how good you are as a footballer. And sometimes
case in point, the fastest player on the field or one of them was probably Raheem Sterling. He's a guy that everyone was talking about all tournament long. He did nothing today. One of the biggest, strongest on the field was Harry Kane. He did nothing. Why? Because Italy's positioning from their midfield and their entire back line, Italy made one mistake. It led to an England goal. They adjusted. You never saw that mistake again. They gave England very little today. Very little.
Yeah, and I was surprised. Look, again, I'm not gonna sit in my house and start talking about Gareth Southgate. He's a fantastic coach. He brought them all the way to the finals. I was surprised that he went with a 3-4-3. I was actually a bit nervous after 10, 15 minutes because I'm like, this is working for them. They're putting us in a little bit of difficulty here with this shape. And then as soon as they started having a little bit of difficulty, England that was, he went back into their original, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 type formation. And I found like he gave up. He gave up on what he came into the game wanting to do. And as soon as he gave up, then we just started taking even more yardage on the field, even more space, even more dominance in possession. So I thought he was brilliant to come up with this 3-4-3. I thought he should have stuck with it a little bit more and maybe just make some small little tweaks here and there. But like you said, I mean, look, everybody knows it. Italians won't have the greatest footballers in the world. We've had very, very good footballers like Totti and Baggio and Pirlo, but we've never had a Messi or a Neymar or a Maradona or a Pele or Cristiano Ronaldo. But the reality is tactically, the players in Italy are very, very intelligent. The staff, the coaching staff, their coaching education at Coverciano is by far one of the top ones. They're able to teach their coaches tactics and how to adjust. And look, they showed at this tournament, and I'm happy for Roberto Mancini, because not a lot of people have spoken about him, and not a lot of people have given him enough credit. But he's fantastic, a fantastic persona. For me, I think the players all love him. That's the feeling I got from my screen.
What a player's coach he is. It's unbelievable.
And then he surrounds himself with Gianluca Vialli, who's another player's coach, with Attilio Lombardo, who's another player's coach, with Daniele De Rossi. I don't know if you saw his celebrations in the dressing room.
I saw it on the tables. They put a little bit of champagne, and he dove right across.
These are all things that bring guys together, and just Bonucci said in his press conference, we just kept on getting closer and closer and closer as a group, and we really wanted to work for each other. And
Bonucci, what a game by Bonucci. What a game by Chiellini today. What a game by Bonucci. What a game by Chiellini. What a game by everyone. What an incredible game it was. You talked about Mancini, former Sampdoria player, of course, played with the Italian national team. His teammate with Sampdoria, Gianluca Vialli, his assistant, they showed them in an embrace after the game. Was very, very emotional. It was really something. You want your Italy gear, by the way, they got these beautiful hoodies at sportbuffshop.com for all of your officially licensed sports apparel and more. Use code 615 for 15% off on all of their items. So if you go on their website, sportbuffshop.com, you're going to go to other and then my country, and you'll be able to get your Italy hoodie. It's absolutely beautiful. All right. Okay. So moving on, you talked about Gareth Southgate before, and you talked about Roberto Mancini, and you said, who am I to I'm going to tell you right now, Southgate blew it. He blew it. I want to get to their substitutions. And Italy makes their substitutions, of course. And we know who they are. Barella comes out at the 54th, and Cristante comes in. Immobile goes out at the 54th, and Berardi comes in. Then later on at the 86th, because of an injury to Chiesa goes out. Bernardeschi comes in. At the 91st, so going into extra time, Insigne comes out, and Belotti comes in. Verratti at the 96th goes out. Locatelli comes in. And at the 118th, Emerson comes out, and Florenzi comes in. Those were the 6 substitutions by Italy, and when you go to extra time, you can have 6. England made 5. Trippier went out, Saka came in, Rice went out, Henderson came in, Mount went out, Grealish came in, then Henderson went out at the 120th, and Rashford came in, and Walker went out at the 120th, and Sancho came in. These 2 substitutions, Sandro, to bring in Rashford and Sancho, as well as I do, that Southgate brought them in specifically for the penalties. Specifically. I wasn't even sure he was going to be able to get them in because I thought Italy was going to hold on to the ball. And anyway, if they would have come in and they would have scored on their penalty shots, he looks like a hero. But there's a risk. They're coming in cold. And chances are the penalty kick is going to be the first time they touch the ball. And they both missed their penalty kicks, Sandro. And that's on Southgate. First of all, he chooses Saka to take the final PK. He's 19 years old. Sancho's 21. Rashford's young too. History has shown they usually go with veteran players and not with younger players. And he went with 2 players that were cold. And I'm sure you're going to find it very odd that the 2 offensive players came in for 2 defensive players off an Italy corner kick at the 120th minute.
Yeah. Look, when I saw those changes coming in, it was a defensive corner for them. Coming off the field was Kyle Walker, who's on defensive corners is always in the box jumping. He brought off Henderson, who's another defensive type player who goes and look for the ball. Who's definitely in the box defending corners, and you bring in 2 young guys, like you said, 2 young guys on a defensive corner. And if you remember correctly, on that defensive corner, Italy gets ahead on it. And they're lucky, he's lucky, that this ball doesn't end up going in the net. Because if the ball goes in the net, he's going to be like with the media, with the English, he's going to have to answer a lot of questions on that one, and then to my surprise, they don't even go into a different shape or anything. He has Marcus Rashford playing right back, and Italy recognized that right away, like within a few seconds, and it started attacking towards the left side all the time because they wanted to put him under pressure. This is Marcus Rashford. This is one of the strikers of Manchester United. He's a winger, he's a striker, he's a goal scorer, and all of a sudden he's playing right back. I mean, look, Tony, you know me very well.
Yep.
I coach younger kids, and I like for all these young kids to play multiple positions. But yeah, we're in the Euro Cup final. There's no time for those kinds of risks. He took a huge risk. I think he could have left in Jordan Henderson and just take out maybe Phillips in the middle. But it was a very risky play. If it was going to work out, it was going to be great for him. But it didn't work out, and and
He
unfortunately,
blew it.
yeah,
He blew it. That's
blew
it. And look, I got to tell you, the better team doesn't always win. All right. So I'm very sympathetic to that because Spain played better than Italy and probably deserved a better fate, and Italy won. Today, I thought once again, Italy was sleeping for the first 2 minutes. England looked comfortable for the first 20. Italy looked much better for the next 100 minutes. And then, of course, we're talking about penalty kicks. And penalty kicks, as you know, they can go either way. But heroes are made on penalty kicks. And what can we say about Donnarumma? I thought he was the best goalkeeper in the world going into this tournament. I think clearly he has to have that tag right now. Sandro, it's just, listen, it's an opinion because I shared this today with so many people that I saw in RDP. And by the way, I watched the game at Kitchen 73 in RDP on Maurice Duplessis. And it was nice to see sophistication, event rentals, live music, DJ, sound system, tents, chairs, tables, decor lighting, photo booth, and TV screens. They set up a big 65-inch screen at Kitchen 73. And you can call them at 514-570-5770. And then I partied there for a couple of hours, made my way back to Villa Sal, partied there for a couple of hours. So I got the best of both worlds. But Donnarumma was a guy that everyone was talking about. And I talked about him to a lot of people tonight. And Sandro, I think it's just, once again, it's a prediction. It is what it is. When all is said and done, I think Donnarumma will end up being probably the best goalkeeper of all time. He certainly has that potential, that talent, and that ability.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. He plays the game as a goalkeeper in a totally different way, and it reminds me a little bit of so Buffon was Buffon. Buffon is the god of all gods
and it could end up, and Buffon might end up being the greatest of all time, and it might not be Donnarumma because Buffon had longevity, and unbelievable leadership. Okay, so I don't know if Donnarumma is going to have Buffon's longevity, but I think his dominance for whatever period of time it will end up being superior to that of Gigi's.
Yeah, what strikes me with Donnarumma is a little bit like Manuel Neuer in 2014, in that period of 4 or 5 years where he was playing 30 yards off his line, 20 yards off his line. He was playing almost like a sweeper keeper. He was doing something that we hadn't seen very, very often, and he was doing it fantastic, like in a way that we weren't used to. And not many goalies are able to do it because maybe they don't have the confidence. But Manuel Neuer was doing it, and he was doing it with ease, and he was making it look so simple. Now, Donnarumma is not doing that. But what Donnarumma is doing in his box, he is never on his line. He is always 3 or 4 feet off his line. On corner kicks, if there's an in-swinger, he's about 2-3 feet off his line. If it's an outswinger, he's about 6-7 feet off his line. I've never seen a goalkeeper do this. There's been free kicks like 30, 35 yards away from goal to one of the sides, and he's like not even in goal. And guys are trying to shoot on net because they see him out of the net. But he puts himself in a position where, first of all, it's very risky. If you succeed, you look like a genius, and he seems like he succeeds all the time.
Yeah.
No, honestly, he's gonna be one of the greats if he can keep that longevity, like you said, because guys like I want to say Buffon, I want to say even Manuel Neuer, I want to say Peter Schmeichel. These guys were at that level for many, 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 many years, and Donnarumma's 22 years old. How many appearances will he have at 37, 38 years old with the national team or with his club team? This guy's gonna have over 1,000 appearances.
Yeah,
he's going to destroy records.
This is, you talked about free kicks. I want to talk about penalty kicks. I don't remember when was the last time I saw players approach their keeper minutes before the penalty kicks were going to happen, hugging him, laughing. He's smiling back. Basically, the guys were telling him, it's your time now. Go out there and do it. And the confidence, I don't know what it must feel like being one of the players, but from watching the confidence that I have in Donnarumma when they go to penalty kicks, And rarely does he not guess the right corner. Like, he is fantastic at penalty kicks. Most of the time, he knows where it's going. And by the way, credit to Harry Kane. That was a fantastically taken PK today, where Donnarumma guessed right, but I mean, he couldn't get to it because it was perfect. Rashford felt the pressure of the world on his shoulders because he felt like he too needed the perfect shot to beat Donnarumma, and because of that, he rang one off the post. So anyway, I want to talk to you about Jorginho. Jorginho goes with the hop again and missed his penalty. If he would have converted, Italy would have won the game right there. I'll never criticize a player for missing a PK, but what I thought was interesting was that Belotti and Jorginho changed their corner that they were kicking at from the last game. And I don't know. For what it's worth, I would not suggest that. I would suggest, if you scored, you keep on going with the same corner. But listen, if they would have scored, then I don't have a point. So, but I thought that was interesting that they went with a different shot a couple of days after.
Yeah, look, you know what? So statistics was against Italy because nobody's ever won two penalty shootouts in one tournament. And going into that penalty shootout, I said to myself, whoever it is the second time that they're shooting, that they shot the other day against Spain, I said to myself, they need to shoot down the middle. They need to shoot down the middle. Which Bernardeschi did. Because the goalies are diving, and the reality is people have never seen a guy like Donnarumma up close. Donnarumma is like probably 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
With a wingspan of like 6-7 feet. He could almost touch the post just lying down. So it's really, really tough. Nowadays, it's really tough. Look, Busquets probably didn't miss one pass against Italy in the whole game, in the whole 120 minutes. And then he gets to the penalty spot, and there's one person to beat, and he's 11 meters away from the goal, and he misses a pass into the net where he hasn't missed. So it's not about technique. It's not about speed of the shot, angle of the shot, all this stuff. All this stuff goes into play, yes. But the reality is that at that point it becomes nerves. And last year or the year before, I was coaching college. We went into penalty shots, and the sporting director of the college told me, he's a football guy. He's more American football. He told me, he goes, today, having experienced Montmorency in penalty shootouts, I don't think there's any other sport where this type of situation comes up in a game. This is unique to soccer. A penalty shootout is really, really hard. And I said, well, you have the kicker in football. And he goes, the kicker in football is totally different. It's not the same thing. This is one person against one person. The guy has to walk 50 yards up the field. And I started to think about it, and it's a really unique situation, and you can't prepare for it. You cannot prepare for it.
And Sandro, you're going to get a lot of people today that are going to say it's probably an unfair way to decide a game. Probably those people that are going to say that were people that were cheering for England. I'm not going to hide it. As you know, I was cheering for Italy. Of course, you were cheering for Italy. Those are our roots. Nobody felt sorry for us when we lost in 1994. As a matter of fact, they still mock Roberto Baggio, and they mock us fans of the Italian national team for Baggio putting one in the sky in 94. And, it's not an easy way to lose. That's for sure. It's a tough way to lose, but all credit to England who battled. But, all we heard all week was it's coming home, and instead it's going Rome and not coming home. So, you have your Cherry River hard seltzer, only 90 calories, natural flavors, and no preservatives. Like I know you like them, and now available in Quebec grocery stores and the beer store as well. Sandro, salute. This is for you. You and I, we didn't see each other today other than now. Cheers to the Italian national team. Hold on.
Cheers. Auguri.
Yeah, you're right about that. Okay, so now I know it's a long ways away. It's going to be in 2022, the World Cup. But if you can place your bet on MyBookie, and go to mybookie.ag/the Sick Podcast and use code SickPicks for a 50% deposit bonus. Bet, win, get paid Do you prefer the Euro tournament or you prefer the World Cup? Because World Cup in Qatar is coming up in 2022. And what do you think of Italy's chances of winning the World Cup about a year and a half from now?
I think there's a few things that go into play there. One is they're playing in December. So finally, for the first time in history, the players are not going to come there tired. That's the first thing. Second, I don't know what the weather is going to be like, because apparently it's going to be 40, 50 degrees, even in the winter there. Yes.
We're talking about Qatar, by the way, of course.
We're talking about Qatar, yeah.
Yeah.
And they are going to have air conditioning stadiums. So hopefully the stadiums are closed. There's air conditioning. Everything is fine. Do I prefer the Euro? I prefer the Euro to the World Cup. I find the World Cup is fascinating because it's the whole world. But the football at the Euro is top-notch football. Tactically, the teams have it down packed. I like the World Cup because you get to see African teams with some flair. You get to see some South American teams, which the South American teams, if people don't know, usually have produced the best players in the world, in the history of soccer. Many top talents come from South America, so that's fascinating. But then you get some weaker teams, and that's where it becomes a little bit, a little bit less attractive. But look, it's the World Cup. There's no other sport like it.
No, we saw two amazing teams on Saturday night, by the way, in the final of the Copa America, Argentina versus Brazil. Argentina and Lionel Messi prevailed by a score of 1-0, winning the Copa America. And now no one can say that Lionel Messi cannot win the big one, because he did. So,
yeah,
wow,
he did.
What a
and
weekend.
you know what? The Copa America, Tony, is not even. This is something totally different. You're not going to see the nice little football that you're going to see in the Euro, because it's really culture against culture. The passion, the fighting spirit behind those Copa America games were nothing similar to the European game, But then when the South American
cracks
teams,
in the ankles, shots from behind, blood seeping through the socks, a real war.
Yeah, a real war.
It was a battle.
But then when those South American teams end up playing in the World Cup, they end up playing beautiful football. Yeah. Because the reality is that if we look at Brazil, Gabriel Jesus, Neymar, Richarlison, Lucas Paqueta, Casemiro, they have all these phenoms. Argentina with Messi and Di Maria and Lautaro Martinez and Aguero.
Paul was fantastic.
What's that?
Paul was fantastic.
De Paul was good yesterday.
Was fantastic.
He was very, very good. So, but today it's all about Italy.
What a day! Where did you watch? So I told you I was at Kitchen 73 in RDP on Modeste Duplessis. I had a chance to celebrate in RDP, make my way back to La Salle, celebrate there. Sandro, I have to tell you, I mean, obviously we're proud for Italy, we're proud for the players, we're proud for the coaching staff, we're proud for the country. I was proud for our kids and all of this young generation, because once again, Italy's last championship was back in 2006. That was 15 years ago. Even if you're 20 years old and you were 5 years old at the time, chances are you pretty much don't remember what happened when you were 5 years old. So, anyone under 20 really never celebrated an Italy win. They never watched it. They never saw it. And now they had a chance to celebrate. And I hope they were able to all take it in, because as you know, sports, you can't take things for granted. You don't know when you're ever going to get back. It's not an easy tournament to win. The Euro's not easy. The World Cup is not easy. Like people here in Montreal know, a Stanley Cup is not easy. They've been trying to win one since 1993. You got to the final. You just don't know when you're ever going to get back. So I was happy to see the young generation enjoy it and have, parades and, honking of the horn and foghorns and whistles and music, and for them having a chance to show the pride that they have for their country and their Italian national team. I thought it was just an unbelievable day. It's a day I'm never going to forget. Yeah, and
this is why, like, I really truly hope that the kids, the clubs in Canada, use these types of moments when these big tournaments come around, every couple of years, we need to start using these types of moments to push the game in Canada. The game is a beautiful game. We're not lacking inscriptions. We're not lacking infrastructure. We're not lacking the joy of playing soccer, because a lot of kids love playing soccer. We need to help them. We need to help them with the system around them, because moments like yesterday night with Messi and Neymar playing against each other, and today Italy, England in the temple of soccer in Wembley, these are moments that a country like Canada needs to push forward and not just forget about it in 48 hours.
In the meantime, and it really was, here we are, we're in the heart of our summer. And for us fans of the Italian national team, it really became an Italian summer. I can't think of a better way to go out with Italy winning the Euro. It was 1-1 versus England in the final, and then 3-2 on penalties with Un'estate Italiana. Why don't we do it together? Sing one more time. Let's go. Huh? Man, I love this song.
Yeah. And they played it. They had them play it at the end of the game on the speakers in the Wembley Stadium.
Forse non sarà una canzone a cambiare le regole del gioco. Free concert in Montreal for all of you. Marinero and Grande. Voglio viverla così questa avventura. Senza frontiere, con il cuore in gola. Sandro,
we did it.
E il mondo è una giostra di colori. E il vento accarezza le bandiere. Arriva un brivido e ti trascina via. E sciogli un abbraccio, la follia. Here it is, my favorite part. Notti magiche, inseguendo gol, sotto il cielo di un'estate italiana. We did it, Sandro.
We did it, man. We did it. I can't whistle too loud. My kids are all sleepy.
Mine are sleepy too, Sandro. But you know what? Italy doesn't win every day.
That's it. That's it.
Ce l'abbiamo fatta. Sandro, in ending. Yeah. Huh? We had turkey for supper. We had Swiss cheese for supper. We had whale for supper. We had ostrich for supper. We had Belgian waffles for supper. We had Spanish paella for supper. And today we had English muffins, Sandro. We had English muffins today.
English muffins.
England wanted to beat Italy in soccer. Ma quando mai? Ma come on. Stop. We did it, Sandro. We did it. It's a big podcast. He's Sandro Grande. I'm Marinero. Sandro, thank you. The love. Oh, my God. What a day to be Italian. What a day to be a fan of the Italian national team.
Amazing.
Roberto Mancini. Thank you.
Sei un grande. Sei un grande.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Sandro. It's a sick podcast. I'm Marinero. We are going to have a fantastic summer in Montreal after all. See you, Sandro.
Ciao, Tony. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao a tutti.